Hi guys, in this little video I'm going to do a worked example with you on the screen of converting music from short score to open score. So this is the type of question you might find in your exam. Down in the description I'm going to put some links to other people's videos that explain a bit more in detail about short score and open score. So if you think you need more of an idea, then you can watch those ones first. If you are fairly sure what's going on, then you can keep watching this one. I'll do another video that does the opposite, which starts in open score and moves to closed score. Okay, so we're being asked to rewrite the first two bars up to the pause and including the upbeat in open score. Make sure you include the clefs, key signature, and time signature. So first two bars, 1, 2, up to the pause, which is this little thing. So we're going to there, and including the upbeat, so including this part before bar 1 starts. So this is the section that we're doing. Make sure you include the clefs, key signature, and time signature. So let's start with the clefs. When we're at open score, we always need the same 4 clefs. We need 1 for the sopranos, altos, tenors, and basses. And remember, this is that thing we need to remember. It's like a trick. Alto clef is not for alto singers. Tenor clef is not for tenor singers, okay? So this is for real singers to sing. What clefs would they use? So sopranos are going to use treble clef, nothing surprising there. Altos are also going to use treble clef. Tenors are the awkward ones in this situation. They're going to use a treble clef, but there's something unusual about it. I hope you remember. At the bottom here, just attached to that wee tail, is an 8. Okay, and then the basses, use the bass clef. Make sure you get those wee dots in the right place. Maybe your shape will be better than mine. Same as here, they surround that second line. Okay, clefs done. Key signature. So the key signature here, this note is an F sharp. Okay, and I want you to literally write that down with your pencil, F sharp. Okay. It's a bit small to see on my screen, but we look for the little window inside the sharp to tell us what line or space it relates to. So this is that top line there. Okay, so for sopranos, treble clef, just the same key signature, so an F sharp here. So we make sure we draw it so the window of the sharp shows that top line. That's where an F lives. Same for altos, because it's the same clef, and we're not doing anything weird of changing the key or anything. Tenors, even though it's got that little 8, that doesn't change the key signature, stays the same. For basses, remember we want to make an F sharp, so we can't just put a sharp on the top line in the same way, because that top line is a different note. We need to put it where an F lives, which is that second line from the top, line 4, where the 2 little dots are pointing to. There we go. So now we have key signature. Done. Time signature is the curly letter C, which means 4/4. I don't think you would be marked down if you wrote 4/4 instead, but let's just literally copy what's there. Okay, time signature. Done. What I would suggest as your next step is to put in the bar lines, okay? So that you know how much space you've got and you're not going to get to the end and find you've run out of room. We're going to need a kind of fairly small amount of space at the beginning for this bar, because there's only 1 note for each voice. Quite a lot of space for this middle part, and then a fair amount of space again at the end. Okay. There's a little bit of debate about whether all the bar lines are like one continuous line. The example in your gold books has them as one continuous line, so we're going to do it that way. Mine's going to be squinty, I'm sorry about that. I don't have a ruler that I can use here. So I'm going to go all the way down like this. Okay, you don't have to connect them all together. What you do have to have them is them lined up. Okay, so you couldn't have a bar line here, a bar line here, a bar line here. That's not going to work, okay? So even if you're not connecting them all together, they do have to be lined up. So let's put the other one here. And then remember, we'll only need a small space at the beginning, so let's go here. How's that? Ta-da! And now I know I've definitely got enough space. Now let's go with the soprano notes first. So remember, when I'm looking at this version that's already here, I know the soprano notes because they're the ones where the stems point up the way. Most of the time, they're going to be the highest notes in the stave. This one's not got anything weird, but it could be that at some point the sopranos were lower than the altos, but you would still know them by the stems pointing up, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all the note heads from the soprano line onto here. No stems yet, because I want to tell you about the stems, okay? Just the note heads. I'm going to try and pay attention to how spaced out they are in the original and kind of copy that, okay? So there's quite a big space after that first dot to the next one. I'm going to try and copy that. And I'm going to add the pause sign while I remember. Okay, same as that. Okay, now we need to go back and add some stems to make the note values. In this version, I said all the stems were pointing up because they're signalling who sings which notes. Down here, it's obvious who sings which notes because you've got a whole stave to yourself. So then you follow the normal rules for when stems go up and when they go down, which is this centre line here of the stave. Any notes above that are going to hang down. They're going to have a stem like letter P. If they're underneath, or a D. Okay, so the word pod can help you remember that. The word is not quab. Okay, so if you end up with any notes that look like a Q or a B, then you put the stems in the wrong place. Okay, so pod. So most of these soprano notes are pretty high. That's fine. They're almost all, in fact, pretty much all going to hang down. So. Okay, now on to the alto notes. So again, same process. I'm going to copy the note heads first, and then I'll come back and do the stems in a minute. For the note heads, now that I'm doing after I've done the first voice and I'm doing the other ones, I need to pay attention to where they line up, okay? So this first note lines up with the soprano note. And then, for instance, when we get to this section here, okay, this note lines up with that soprano note, and then there's like a gap under this one, and then this one lines up with that one, there's a gap, and this one lines up with that one, okay? That's important, and that's one of the things you'll be marked on, is making them all line up together, okay? Okay, I can go back. Same rules for my stems again. Okay, so this is the dividing line. Okay, time for the tenor. So the tenor part is trickier because the clef over here doesn't match the clef over here. So the positions of the notes on the stave are going to look different. We're going to use the note middle C as a little landmark note to help us. So first of all, I'm going to look at the tenor notes in this version. So this is in the bass clef, and I'm going to find if I've got any middle Cs. Okay, so this note here is a middle C in bass clef. I hope you know that, as is this one. Okay, and they're just going to help me have my little landmarks. Now I need to remember what a middle C position is in this treble clef, which has the wee 8. Okay, so normally you would, if the 8 hadn't been there, then you would expect middle C to be here, but it's not. This clef shows that whatever is written on the clef sounds an octave down. So if you want something that sounds like a middle C, you have to write a note, a C that's higher than middle C. So that means that space there is going to be middle C. So let's just do this not in order. Let's start with that note there. First full bar is going to be this note. Okay, so there's a middle C, and then I'll just do my other one as well. Start of this part needs a middle C as well. Okay, then I've got a couple of landmarks to know where I'm going. So I'll go back and do the blobs for the tenor notes. making sure they all line up nicely, and keeping my middle C's as a little landmark. So I'm starting one note down from middle C. Now, I don't know if you can see, I would have lost a wee mark or two there because this note here is not very well lined up, okay? It should have been maybe more like over here, okay? Because then I had to squish these two ones in. If you were doing that on a real paper, you could rub it out and move it. I can't do that on the computer, I'm afraid. So let's go back, do some stems. Same rules apply, okay? It doesn't matter what the clef, right? The middle line. Yeah, this one's on the middle line. Oh, I get to choose. Okay, and our final one is the bass notes. This one's fine. The clefs match. So we're just going to copy the blobs in the exact same places as they are. Again, make sure we line up with each other. Same rules for the stems. There we go. All done.